Yeah, here we are, season 1, episode 9, Selling Out.
Selling Out.
First appearance of Bebe Glazer, and Jennifer, I hear you don't like Bebe.
She is my least favorite character in the history of television. And I know that I know this is an unpopular opinion because I know both of you are fans, but oh wow, this woman is a piece of work. Wow, a master. And yeah, her ethical well, I don't know if she has an ethical compass. So no, I don't know. I
don't think so.
Yeah, she knows how to play Frasier. She knows how to play everybody. Honestly, I think she makes everyone she speaks to worse. So, but obviously she is a recurring cast member, so we will have plenty of opportunities to unpack just how vile Bebe is. But she is pretty snaky right out of the gate.
I don't even believe she has a daughter at Stanford.
No,
she doesn't strike me as having a maternal
and
anything
she could,
at all.
First off, no one flies to Palo Alto because there's no airport there. You'd go to SFO or San Jose, so weird choice there with the lie and just playing on the fact that Frasier doesn't know that. But so she's getting details wrong, but she's doing it so casually.
I didn't.
And also, I mean, I guess we don't really know what time of year it is, but the Stanford Cal game, that seems interesting for her to, hinge things on. Anyways, let's get into the episode, and we could revisit how messy Bebe is.
Absolutely. So the episode starts at KACL, where Roger is in the middle of talking about a 48-foot boat he's just bought. The only problem is his wife wants to call it Lulubelle. Frasier goes into a wonderful bit about the tunneling electron microscope at Cornell University.
Roger, at Cornell University, they have an incredible piece of scientific equipment known as the tunneling electron microscope. Now, this microscope is so powerful that by firing electrons, you can actually see images of the atom, the infinitesimally minute building block of our universe. Roger, if I were using that microscope right now, I still wouldn't be able to locate my interest in your problem.
I feel like this bit is iconic.
It's a wonderful burn. It's a wonderful... Neil deGrasse Tyson would love that burn.
Yeah.
Who's a famous astrophysicist for some of our listeners who don't know. He would love that burn.
I feel like both names that Roger has for the boat, Lulubelle and the Intrepid, are both terrible names for a boat.
Oh yeah, I agree. The Intrepid sounds like a military vessel.
Yeah.
It does. It sounds like something from the war, from World War I or something.
Yeah.
So Roz hands Frasier a piece of paper, and Frasier starts reading it before realizing it was an advert. He makes an excuse not to read it. He tells Roz he doesn't do personal endorsements.
Yet.
Bulldog enters. Bulldog enters, and Roz asks him to do the ad, which Bulldog happily agrees to, saying that they're easy money. Frasier notices the contract and how much money he would have made as Bulldog does the promo, complete with racist accent and duck call. This time they'll be sued for sure.
That was a moment for
that
Bulldog.
Was so uncomfortable to watch. That was so uncomfortable.
And the laugh track too. Like, was the 90s just less weird about very visible racism, or like what happened? Like,
I think so.
Yeah, I was shocked
because like in the 60s, I could see how they, that might be more culturally like, less of a faux pas, but like. This is the 90s. I was really shocked about that. Plus the laugh track suggesting that the audience laugh along.
Right. Yeah. And, this is just the beginning of cringy behavior that really starts to stick out. And it's a problem that you have when you're watching nostalgic TV. But I look at it as a positive, as saying, like, good thing we've grown from that moment. And we can look back and say, ugh, no more. But in the following episode, Bulldog basically sexually assaults Roz by like kissing her right before he goes into his main confrontation. That's in the next episode. But again, just watching it, it was just like, oh, no, Bulldog, you are so inappropriate. You're wildly inappropriate. You are a bulldog. It's just...
Yeah. Bulldog can be a bit of a problematic character nowadays, especially.
he would not do well.
He'd do
No.
well with the
today's
wrong
society.
audiences.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah, you know what? That's a better way of saying it, Jen. Thank you. But I had a question for you guys before we actually get
Of
into the
course.
episode. How do you feel about celebrity endorsements?
That is a really
Like
question.
when you
solid
see certain
question.
celebrities. Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to buy anything just because a celebrity endorses it. Like, it's not compelling enough. But my feeling, and this is the translation from 90s to 2020s, it's the old version of influencers.
Exactly.
So I
True.
get it. I get that there are a ton of people who do respond to it. I don't personally, because I also don't find influencer marketing to be very useful, but I get it. I see why people would, see Frasier's life as aspirational. I mean, I want his apartment. So, maybe if
Right.
maybe I might take his recommendations. And certainly over Bulldog. I mean, like, although Frasier had his own little mishap with that yen line.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, speaking of celebrity endorsements, Kelsey Grammer actually did his own. I don't know if you've seen the Dr. Pepper Frasier Crane commercial.
Yes, that's what I was.
Yeah, where Kelsey's playing Frasier, endorsing Dr. Pepper. They also got Bebe Neuwirth as Lilith as well in the ad.
Scientific tests show that when one drinks Dr. Pepper slowly, one can truly relish the 23 flavors. Would that we could savor all our relationships, much as the conductor savors his chorale nocturna, slowly. Comments, caller?
Only one, Frasier. You never savored me slowly.
Well, Lilith, I guess I finally found the right icy doctor.
Frasier, I don't...
Slower is better. Trust me, I'm a doctor.
Yes, and I actually found an article, and maybe I could link to my Facebook page or the show notes, where I found an article from that time period where Dr. Pepper was going on a campaign. They did an ad campaign, and they specifically wanted to use the show Frasier because they wanted it to be a more sophisticated, smooth kind of campaign.
Yeah.
But when I was researching for this episode, I found it very interesting how Kelsey, so Frasier, the character, didn't really do commercials. You didn't really see that. But Kelsey Grammer, he does tons of commercial. He's selling auto insurance, he's selling cars, he's still lawnmowers, everything, beer.
He doesn't have any professional
No.
adversity to it.
No, he does not. So it's just the Dr. Pepper, Frasier Crane. But any other one, Kelsey's like, fair game, pay me that money. He's more of a BB. That's where his BB side comes out.
Yeah.
I get it.
Hey, I'd do it. If someone said, here, I'll pay you some money to endorse this product, I'd probably say yes.
Yeah, that's how podcasts have made it big time when they start off and there's no commercials, and then all of a sudden there's commercials, and you're like, good for them. Like, they've leveled up.
Right.
Exactly. I don't know if we'll get there, but maybe a goal to aim for is doing commercials.
There we go. But we
Like,
can do so without the influence of someone like Bebe, I would hope.
Exactly. Yeah, so I guess my personal opinion of celebrity endorsements is I don't mind them. Like, I understand why they're doing them and everything. Like, it doesn't influence me in any way, I don't think. Sometimes it's interesting to see an actor that you enjoy doing an ad.
Definitely.
So later, Frasier arrives home and asks Martin and Daphne what they would think if he did a commercial to publicly endorse a product. Daphne compares it to what Cher does, which is a point against doing it in Frasier's book.
Of course.
Martin asks what the product is, and Frasier explains that it's a Chinese restaurant. He also says that he holds a position of trust and doesn't want to abuse his position. Daphne posits that his listeners may need advice on where to go for good Chinese food, and Frasier's advice would help them.
I love the way he did that.
Yeah.
That was so clever. She was like, well, they would want you to, they need your guidance.
Exactly.
Going towards his ego. I love it.
Mm-hmm. It does work. Martin adds that Frasier should try the food and do the ad if he likes it. Frasier likes that idea and makes a reservation that night. They didn't have anything until 10, but using his celebrity status, Frasier manages to get a table at 9:45.
So, like Martin's stance on this, that like, hey, if you authentically like it, go ahead and endorse it like that. I think absolves you of, feeling kind of icky about it. But then, of course, Frasier's "Do you know who I am?" moment is kind of...
Yeah. He does use that a couple of times when trying to book restaurants.
Oh, yeah. I can think of several episodes in which that happens. It's icky every time he does it.
It's like, oh, I'm Dr. Frasier Crane from the radio. Saved him 15 minutes.
Yeah. I think that's funny. I mean, like, good on, was it Hunan Palace for, giving him just the slightest accommodation.
Yeah. Well, they probably legitimately didn't have a table until 10. Who eats dinner at 10 o'clock anyway?
You know what, New Yorkers? But here's my thought on this.
Yeah.
If they didn't have a table on the night before he promoted their business, why did they need a 30% boost in their business?
I don't know.
Sounds like they were doing pretty all right.
Yeah, it sounds like they're a popular restaurant.
Yeah. Maybe it was Bulldog.
I guess you can always be... Maybe. Maybe they just always need that little bit extra.
Yeah, you know.
You never know.
You never know.
The next day, Frasier is in his booth in the middle of an ad for Hunan Palace. He gloats to Roz at how his commercials have boosted the restaurant business by 30%. He exits into the hall and he's met by Bebe Glazer.
Oh, Bebe.
So we've got our first appearance of Bebe here.
Mm-hmm.
She's just waiting for him in the hallway.
You know what? I would even go so far as to call that an ambush.
Oh, absolutely.
I was going to say, she was so authentic in that role because she did exactly how I think a real agent looking to poach somebody would do. Like, you would catch them off guard and, pull them off to the side.
Yeah.
She knows how to work Frasier because she immediately praises him for his ads for Hunan Palace.
Oh, come on, Dr. Crane. I've heard those spots you've done for that Chinese restaurant. You make me want to stuff my face full of egg rolls and I don't know what.
Thank you.
Frasier says he only does those ads because he dines at the restaurant. Bebe says the last thing she wants to do is have Frasier advertise something he doesn't believe in. Well, that's a lie.
Lies. But it's like the first of many lies in this, even in that conversation.
Yeah. Bebe goes to leave as her daughter is graduating from Stanford. She asks Frasier if he has kids, and Frasier mentions having a 5-year-old son. Lucky for Frasier, he won't have to worry about it for years yet. Worry about what? Tuition. She scares Frasier with the rising cost of college tuition, and he suddenly has time to talk.
I love this, but your summary just gave the connecting dots between the lies. The Stanford Cal game would never be at the same time as graduation week. Football and graduation are in entirely different seasons. So she is already just lying directly to him, and she's probably relying on the fact that Frasier's not as sports inclined, and he's, impressed by the Stanford name, and just her details are terrible. Probably on purpose.
Well, you know
Probably.
what though, she did have something correct though about the Harvard cost of admissions. I did look them up. So in 1993, Harvard's cost of admission for tuition, room and board was $23,514 a year. And then in that same conversation, she says to Frasier, wait till you see the prices in 2010. And in 2010, the cost of admission was $50,724. So
yeah. That's
comes
quite
to
a
money,
jump.
she knows what she's talking about. My kind of woman.
Block is right twice a day, but she is either misleading him on purpose or she doesn't know her stuff. I don't know which is worse, but I hate her either way.
Everything about her is suspect except when she's talking about money.
You know what, though?
Yeah.
You know who this reminds me of? 2 episodes ago in The Crucible, when that art dealer is using the exact same techniques to handle Frasier. Bebe's doing exactly that, except this time he falls for it instead of criticizing it and, doing the, getting his brother to break a window and all that stuff. So interesting how that happens. Fool me once, fool me twice. What's happening here, Frasier?
Well, she's playing to the fact that Frasier wants to be earning this money. He's just holding on to his principles, or whatever he sees his principle as being.
Time.
So she's saying all the right things.
Yeah.
So he's definitely falling for her trap.
Well, in a way, like, you know, she is handling him just like the art dealer, but she's doing a better job of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
She is the queen of handling.
Yeah. She's the queen of a lot of things. Oh man, I just hate this character. Oh, wait till her next appearance.
Oh, yeah, love to hate her. Oh, her next appearance is that's a trip, that next appearance. But we'll talk about it when we get to it.
Mm-hmm.
Frasier, Daphne, and Martin are in swimsuits sitting in a hot tub in a showroom. Turns out Frasier is endorsing the product and needs his friends and family to also try it. Daphne likens it to sitting in hot champagne.
Tell us she doesn't do often. Like, that's the best part. Like, no one assumed that, Daphne.
How would you sit in hot champagne? Do you like fill up a bath? Like the show does references like filling up a bathtub with champagne a couple of times, and it just seems like a really weird thing to do. Is that like
really into soaking
classy?
in champagne?
I know. Is it like a classy thing to do or something?
I can't imagine because, like, first off, if it's quality champagne, which is what one would hope, that's a waste. You should be drinking it. So you're either implying that you don't like champagne enough to consume it, or that you have that much money to burn. I don't know, but hot champagne sounds revolting.
It does. I can't imagine. You'd end up all sticky, I'd assume.
You would. You'd be sticky from all the sugar in it, because champagne is typically more sugary than regular wine. But also, just like the bubbles that go with champagne are such a different like size and everything than the bubbles that are in a hot tub. Ugh. Like, it just texturally sounds terrible.
Yeah.
That hot tub did look appealing though. I don't know. I could hear the bubbles and I could think about being in a hot tub. I was enjoying it because I'm freezing in Buffalo.
Yeah. So. I would with water in it, not champagne.
Yeah. No. Yes, I'll have water as well, I think. I just don't see the appeal of sitting in champagne. Yes. It just... No. But the show mentions it at least twice, and I'm just thinking, is it a thing? Is hopping into a tub of champagne a thing?
I don't think it is.
It shouldn't be.
Either it's very specifically a thing in the mind of one of the writers and they're responsible for its multiple appearances, or it's just a really, really specific hyperbole about how much money it involves to burn.
Yeah. I like to think it's the second one.
Really, I don't want anybody to be out there just thinking like, yeah, I just want to champagne, you know?
Champagne bath. Well, Martin thinks hot tub's helping his hip, which is good enough for Frasier, and Frederick can go to Harvard. Suddenly, like Frasier spots Dave Hendler. Yeah. He can endorse the hot tub, and Frederick can go to Harvard. Suddenly, Frasier spots Dave Hendler from their building. Not wanting to be seen, Frasier ducks underwater to hide. Daphne notices that it isn't Dave Hendler, and Martin tells her to enjoy the quiet while she can.
Frasier held his breath, because that's unclear, because they do change the scene briefly after that observation, but I'm just like,
Really wanted him out of the tub after a while, though, because his little dangly hair thing was getting all wet in the back.
Yeah.
And it was bothering. He's all doing this. Oh, God.
That's why I do this show with you every week, is to hear the observations on Frasier Crane's specific appearance.
Well, now it's wet, and I'm like,
oh. And you're not wrong. I just wasn't even looking.
What I like is that this scene, they have like an extended version of it for the end credits, where Frasier's hiding under the water, and they've just got him under the water, and it's the only end credits that has sound, so you can hear him pop up and him gasping for air.
It'd be a fun part of bit of acting for Kelsey, because you imagine that he would not have done that just for an end credit scene if he wasn't enjoying it.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I feel like every time that they have to be in water for a scene is probably a real pain in the ass.
Sure, because
you wet.
Dry to begin the scene and then get into the water. So yeah, I could imagine that takes a long time.
Because there's a couple of episodes where Frasier's in the bathtub as well.
Yeah, I remember that. I always wonder, is the water ever warm when I hope it is.
I
hope
hope
it
so.
is.
But it'd get
The
cold with all
working
the takes, I
conditions
reckon.
of professional sitcom actors.
Mm.
Good question, though. I guess it depends how much the production crew likes them.
Yeah. Later, Frasier's recorded the ad, and he and Daphne and Martin are sitting around listening to it on the radio. Daphne enjoyed the ad, and Martin liked it.
Well, what did you think?
I could almost smell the chlorine.
Dad, how about you?
I liked it.
Really?
Yeah, I liked it.
You really, really liked it?
No, I liked it.
Well, what was wrong with it?
Nothing.
You hated it, didn't you?
Yeah. Good night, Frasier.
Like, when you're asking a BS question like that, like, he'll do the white lie to say it's fine, but if you dig for truth, he's like, yeah, no.
Yeah. The doorbell rings, and it's Bebe. She has an offer for Frasier that's pay or play. Daphne knows what that is. Turns out she used to be a star of a British TV series called Mind Your Knickers. I love this detail about Daphne.
Much love for this mention because Daphne's quirky anyways, but the more we peel back the layers of the onion, or I guess the artichoke in this case, to learn about her past, the weirder it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what's funny is that it's fun. Her past isn't really troubled. It's just quirky. Normally, on shows, someone has a troubled past or they're running away from something, but she's just like, no, I'm just floating around in the earth, just figuring out who I am and being a mystic and doing an old man's laundry all day.
But, with all these little winding paths to get there.
Yeah, nothing tragic.
Nothing tragic.
So I like that.
Yeah, she made it to PT school somewhere in that mix,
Exactly. I like that for her. Yeah, I like that.
Oh, could you imagine Daphne in PT school being a bit psychic about, like, what is someone's...
Oh, gosh.
Like, that is a series I would watch.
She's a bit psychic. Yeah, I'd wonder what the show would be like. It always puts me in mind of like the Enid Blyton books, Mallory Towers, which are about people like girls at a boarding school. I wondered if it'd be a bit like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, she played the spunky one.
Yes, the short, spunky one.
Yeah, which fits. That fits.
Yeah, she does strike me as the spunky one. Anyway, back to business. The ad is for nuts. Frasier says he can't endorse nuts, so he wreak havoc with his diverticulitis. Bebe mentions it's a 5-figure TV spot. Frasier wrestles with his ethics before eating a nut. He gets tricked into...
Yes,
well, not tricked, but he's easily seduced.
His ego was really being indulged.
Yeah. Yeah, he was really seduced by television.
Yes, which ultimately he kind of did have a stint in for in one season. I think I remember he did some TV episodes. So
yeah, there was like
a morning
season 7. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he does like a morning show for a bit, and he's sort of seduced by that as well. He's easily seduced.
And in the reboot, he does it. In the reboot.
Yeah, in the reboot, he did a TV series for years.
Yeah, so at least they were consistent.
Yeah,
he's consistent. Wanted to be famous, so yeah.
In the television studio, Frasier's sitting in front of a makeup mirror with Bebe. He has paper tissue around his neck to protect his collar. A crew member hands him a script, and Frasier reads over it. He isn't fully happy with his line, and Bebe uses her wiles to try and get Frasier back on board.
Bebe, I don't want to get a reputation for being difficult, but I'm just not comfortable with this line.
Frasier. How long have we been together?
6 days.
Bebe points out that the line makes for psychiatry more accessible to the average person. Frasier is briefly mollified. He reads the next part of the script. Frasier comes out of his shell. Bebe assures him it's a technical term, while behind them a crew wheels past a giant nut costume.
She really think on her feet, can't she?
Oh, yeah. She knew that the nut costume would be a deal breaker for Frasier.
And the language he uses, once again, it's appealing to his sense of ego and lack of general knowledge about, television. Like, it's wild.
It is. Niles is sitting at a table at Cafe Nervosa when Frasier comes in, still wearing the tissue around his neck. Niles points it out, saying it's a way for Frasier to have people ask if he's an actor so he can crow and gloat. Frasier points out it's the same reason Niles has shrink on his license plate.
I love that.
Like, no notes, Niles. No notes.
Yeah. Frasier gets to his problem. He's not sure he can do the commercial. For starters, his co-stars are dressed up as an almond and a walnut. He's worried that this is the selling out of Frasier Crane. Niles disagrees, arguing that Frasier already sold out by becoming a radio shrink. Frasier argues against this, believing his radio show helps thousands of people every day. Niles compares this to a movie where the actress let people look up her skirt and then was upset no one took her seriously as an actress.
Funniest analogy that has ever come out of Niles's mouth, because I just, that one, honestly, like, did not see it coming, but also it set up such a hilarious Maris joke.
Have you seen that movie? Maris and I rented the video. I don't mind telling you, we pushed our beds together that night. And that was no mean feat. Her room, as you know, is across the hall.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's the movie is Basic Instinct, obviously.
But also, who watched Basic Instinct and then interpreted it the way that Niles did?
And Basic Instinct was really hot movie at the time. I mean, I was a kid, and I remember the adults being like, "Ooh, did you see the scene? Did you see the scene?"
Yeah, it was a big scene.
Yeah, big scene. Which nowadays, you just they show that anyway.
But I do find it funny because I think this is a rare admission from Niles that, like, he has, like, you know, here comes a pun, baser instincts. There we go. But seriously, I don't think he's ever insinuated anything like that, and it is funny.
I know, and it also opens up a little window to Niles and Maris's life, because not only do they not share a bed, they don't even share a bedroom. I love that joke. He's like, we pushed our beds together that night, which is no easy feat considering her room is across the hall.
Wild.
Right. And then that's even more ridiculous. Like, why can't you just be in the same bed? But then, well, it's Maris. So, no.
Yeah, so Frasier isn't sure about doing the ad, but Niles believes that Frasier's already let people look up his skirt, and it doesn't matter if Frasier does the ad or not.
Give Niles credit. He is communicating what Frasier needs to hear.
I think the way Sir David Hyde Pierce, his tone, the way he delivered it, his delivery on that joke was like, the timing and the delivery and the tone was perfect. If he had gotten a beat too fast, it would have came off as too snobbish and not funny. You know how sometimes some people are like really, like Bill Maher or something, you know, like there's very sharp and it can be really mean. But Niles did it wonderfully. Yeah. I loved it. And then he left. Yes, and he just left. I loved it.
Yeah, this is one of a few episodes where Niles isn't in it very much at all. He's only in it for a couple of minutes.
Yeah. Well, because Bebe has to suck up all the oxygen of not only the room.
Cutting into Niles' time.
Yes.
Another reason I hate Bebe, she took Niles' minutes away.
Yes.
I wonder, do we actually see Bebe and Niles together in the same room? I wonder.
We do. In the next episode, we have Bebe. They're in the same room that time.
Oh,
so
okay.
He meets her
Okay.
then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll look at that with different perspective now.
Late at night, Frasier's sitting in his living room watching a video of the commercial. Martin enters and notices. Frasier wonders if he did the right thing. Martin assures him that he did, and Freddie will thank him for it. Frasier watches the video one more time. The advert starts, and instead of Frasier, it's Dr. Joyce Brothers who steps out of the shell. Frasier agrees with Martin. After all, Dr. Joyce is Freddie's favourite psychologist.
I was so mad at Frasier. I said, no, Frasier, why did you do it? Ugh.
I do think it's a good I think it's a good ending, but obviously I hate Bebe, so it's Frasier standing up to Bebe.
Yeah.
And having some principles, at least this time.
So So I'm Australian, and I guess I don't know if Dr. Joyce Brothers a big celebrity. Do you guys remember her?
So like you didn't have like mega celebrities, but people knew who she was.
Yeah, I didn't recognize her.
I knew who
I know
she
Dr.
was.
Phil.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think she had like a different kind of audience from Dr. Phil.
Oh,
Yeah, because I think Dr. Phil was a little closer to like the other like daytime talk show hosts like Maury and Sally Jesse and everybody, but
Oprah.
yeah, but I think Dr. Joyce was like in between, right? She's not like ultra serious, obviously, because that level of celebrity, but she's a little more serious than a Dr. Phil type.
Sounds like she was on Hollywood Squares.
Was she?
Well, they are arguing over where she was positioned on Hollywood Squares at the end of this episode.
That's funny.
Don't think. Yeah, I don't think we didn't. I don't think we got Hollywood Squares in Australia. So
I don't know.
that's a show that sort of goes over my head.
No, but enough for reputation, but it is sort of a glimpse into what Frasier could have been perceived as, right? It's the future that Bebe was, suggesting to him he could have had in terms of reach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks like she was on Hollywood Squares. Looks like she did a few things.
She made me think that she would have maybe resonated more with Marty's era. She seemed older than Frasier, right? Like she was, or was she about the same?
She's older than Frasier, but also, you do make a fair point. People in the 90s who were like in their 40s look older than people now in their 40s. So
Yeah,
hard to tell. I mean, I'd have to Google her and see how old she was during the 90s.
Yeah, it is. Isn't that funny though? Like 40 now does not look as old as 40 then. Because 40 then, you looked like bags under your eyes, haggard.
Wrinkles,
the
very
wrinkles,
deliberate hairstyle choices. Like, it's just, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And then an older gentleman like Marty, he wouldn't have looked that old. He would have had like, sneakers on and jeans and just, looked nice. And yeah.
Just aesthetically was really different. So it's hard to tell. I actually don't know how old she was, at that time. But
she would have been in her early 60s.
Okay, that makes sense.
In this episode,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I do think like at least the like memories that I have of like my awareness of her. I think she had like a medium amount of credibility for someone who was a celebrity.
Yeah, I guess there's like celebrity chefs that you don't really see on TV shows or anything, but they sort of just have this sort of persona that you just sort of recognize. So I guess it might have been a bit like that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I do remember around that time in the 90s, the chef Emeril Lagasse, he got like super, super big.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I ever saw like a celebrity chef before. Other than, I mean,
Mark Child and Shaka Khan, but they were in the PBS realm. Emeril was like a little more mainstream TV.
Yeah. He had praise and everyone would be like, bam, bam, bam. It was a thing.
I had the bam seasoning. It was good.
Is that a celebrity endorsement?
You know what it is? I'm not a celebrity, but it is an endorsement of his celebrity product. That seasoning blend was pretty good. I don't know if they still sell it.
Okay. Yeah. Now I want to revisit something. So I sat down and did the logic behind why Frasier had an issue with doing celebrity endorsements. And then when I did it, I was like, because what is the big deal? Like, what is he really saying? And then I discovered how self-centered he is, because this is what he says. He basically says the public trusts him, and because they trust him, they will do whatever he tells them.
Yeah.
It is Frasier, you are not
quite an ego.
Therefore, I want to abuse my power. Like, he just goes from it's 0
You're
to
right.
100.
At the exact same time as he's saying, like, watch out, like, I owe the public, he's so self-centered that he thinks that his opinion could sway the public and that he has a duty to be honest.
He goes, he literally says, they will do what I tell them.
Well,
It's like Frasier.
Quite an ego on him.
Yeah. I bet there's some influencers today that say that.
Oh, yeah.
This is a fun episode. I mean, your feelings about Bebe aside, I think it's a fun episode.
Really fun to watch, but Oh man, I would just love to like throw a dart at Bebe.
She goes straight in for the kill from get-go.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She says she won't push, but she's pushy.
The next episode is my least favorite. I just cannot find anything to pull from that episode. So,
all right, well,
Bulldog is my
Bulldog's your least favorite?
Yeah, he's my least favorite.
I get it. You know, it's interesting, and I do think there's something to explore, perhaps in future episodes when all of our least favorite characters have had their screen time. As to like what exactly makes a hateable character in the Frasier universe, and why did the three of us select the ones that we hate? So,
I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the next episode is season 1, episode 10. Oops.
What a title.
I have to say, this is probably the first episode in season 1 that I'm not hugely a fan of.
Fair. It gives us a talk about why, though.
Yeah. I think it's because Bulldog is a big focus on it, and I like Bulldog as a character, but in small doses.
Yes, agreed. Well, thanks for listening.
Thank you. We'll be back next week.
Yep. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
But I don't know what to do with those tossed salads and scrambled eggs. They're calling again.